Hey guys, welcome back to the farm. It's 7 a.m. this morning and nice and cool out. It's about 73 degrees and it's been getting up into the 90s lately, but it's nice and cool in the mornings. Today we're going to take you around and show you, this is our morning chore routine. We have a lot of animals that are in cages depending on feed, so that's the first thing we take care of. Let's go do it. So this is the chicken tractor with the 60 meat birds. This is a Cornish cross meat bird. These guys are about 6 or 7 weeks old, so they still have another about 3 weeks till we finish these guys off. So this is how we move them every morning. What I do is I place a bucket at the starting point. That way I know when I'm pulling it where to stop. So this is my high-tech moving system right here. I actually had gone into the guy that made these famous. I'm not sure if he's the one that originally invented them or not, but the one who made these very popular, his name is Joel Soliton, and he uses a 1/2-inch iron pipe. It's almost like a huge dolly that he puts under there with some forks, and then they pull that back. I bought all the materials to do that, and I already had this built. So in the meantime, I was looking for a way to move these, and I saw the kids' scooters laying around, and they had a couple extra. They have like 5 of them amongst 3 of them. So what I did is I said, hey, let me borrow some of your scooters. And now that's actually what I ended up using, and I didn't have to build. I think this actually works better. When I watch them demonstrate how they use it, I think this actually works better. So you just lift it up, place them on there, and then we move them one lane. So you can see they're excited to get this on new grass, and then there's bugs out there and they're hunting for bugs. This really is where chickens should be. So this is an area, if you look at this, you can see they get free airflow. They get sunshine. They have a chance to be in the sun if they want to be in direct sunlight, which sterilizes their bodies if they need that. And then the other thing is they're on a fresh piece of ground. There's no waste. We're leaving all trail of waste behind, so they get moved twice a day. If you look back behind them, you can see how they tear up the grass. You can see the before and after. And, you can see all the waste they leave behind. So I try and move this in the evening, right before they go to bed as well, so when they bed down for the night, they're also getting a new set of bedding. Okay, so then I double check and just make sure that nobody got caught up. Sometimes they'll get their feet stuck in the side. When I move them, I don't feed them first. If I were feeding them, then they would be hunting. They would be looking on the ground and not paying attention. Right now, they haven't been fed yet, so I move them before I feed them, so they're alert. They're paying attention to what's going on. They're not distracted by the feed on the ground. Normally I don't have any issues. I just double check and make sure that nobody got hung up, and they all look good. So they're in their new spot, and then we move on to the next one. So before I move it, I also check it to make sure that the scooter didn't catch one of them. You don't want to be running over their feet. So just by happenstance, this scene takes place in the middle of a badminton court. So this will be a little unusual. This normally isn't happening. There we go. That one's moved. So this is the feed bucket, and they know that the feed is in there. So if I bring this to the front, they know they're normally going to get fed. So this brings their attention to the front. So they all come to the front. So I don't want them stuck in the back where they're going to get hung up on the scooters or the back of the tractor. If you have any waterers or anything in there, before you move it, you want to get that out too. Pull out the water so it doesn't get run over. So the majority of the time, most of the moves are going to be in a straight line. So right here, we started out there, and we've already run the chicken tractors up on that hillside. So we actually brought them farther this time, and there's a strip right here where we haven't run them a whole lot. So they're kind of doing a turn. You can kind of see that they're doing a turn here. So this is more of a pivot than just a straight pull like the other ones were. It's the same concept. It's just going to, just want to go nice and slow so nobody gets hurt in there. Alright, so now they're in line where they should be. When it's real warm, we will put some blocks on the back side so that there's some airflow, because there's kind of a U right in here where if there's no way for the air to flow out, there's kind of a dead space. They can come up to the front, but with the other one, sometimes there's a lot of them, and then they'll have to be kind of real close together to be in this airflow. So on these ones, I'll leave the scooters in there so there's a little space at the back. You can't leave too much space or they'll get out. All right, now that we've moved these guys, we can feed them. Move them first, feed them second, and water them last. If they're real hungry and you go and try and get in there and give them their water, then usually they're just going to knock stuff around and bang on the water. They want their food, they're hungry. So I give these guys 3 of these. Okay, so this is where 8 of the golden comets are. Normally these guys are up in the chicken yard, but we got them doing some work down here in with the sheep. They basically go behind them and kick around the waste, the sheep poop, and make sure if there's any maggots or any parasites in there, they're going in there and they're disturbing that cycle so that those parasites will die. So we just come over. They get a lot of their own food in here, but we just give them a little bit. We got to be careful that we don't give them too much that just sits on the ground, because the sheep will come over like this little dirty rascal. Hey! She knows there's corn in that feed and she likes it too. Hurry up and eat it before the sheep come. No, 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 it's not for you. It's not your food. So that watering system is a hanging watering system. Very seldom that we have areas that are completely flat. So that right there, that allows it to self-level, because if it's not on level ground, it'll just drain out within a matter of minutes. And that keeps it up off the ground also, so that they don't poop in there. That system's worked out pretty good. I think what I'm gonna do though is run a tube up to the outside up here to the roof area to a 5-gallon bucket. Then I won't even have to take that out like that anymore. I'll just have to fill up the 5-gallon bucket on the outside, and then it'll just gravity feed down into there. But until I do that, this works out fine. It's not that big of a deal. So just to reiterate the steps, you move first, then you feed, then they're distracted with the feed, then you can get in there with the water. If you try and do it in any other order, you try and get the water in there, they want to eat first. That's how we do that. You can see that other hanging feeder too. The hanging feeder works just fine. We're not using it as much anymore because we were trying to encourage them to scratch around. So the last bits of those pellets, they usually won't eat it all at first, but then they'll get hungry throughout the day and they'll start scratching the ground more. That's what we've noticed. With the hanging feeder, it was just sitting there so they wouldn't scratch around as much. In fact, in some places you can see holes that they've scratched because that's where all the feed landed on that particular day. All right, so we're coming back to this one. These guys have already been moved over, so now we're gonna feed them. I usually throw at least 2 scoops over in this area just to distract them, keep them out of the way so that I can get in there and change the water out. Add some water. Really try and keep it away from the water because they go banging around and they'll throw a lot of water just trying to get at the food. All right, so that pretty much concludes the 3 chicken tractors. These are kind of temporary setups. These meat birds will be in here for about 3 weeks. The Rhode Island Reds, the young ones, there's 35 of those guys. Those guys will go into a permanent house down the hill over here by the garden area. And what we'll do over there, they'll basically be part of a compost waste system where they're mixing in the compost. We have a little system set up like that in the barn, but this will be the official setup right next to the garden. They'll mix up the compost. They'll be digging in there all the time. We'll keep bringing our waste in there, and then we'll transfer that directly into the garden right next door. And then the chicken tractors that aren't being used after that phase is complete, those will probably be used by the rabbits as rabbit tractors, for the bunnies, for the smaller ones, and then we'll raise them out that way, see how that goes. This is all food that we picked up from a dumpster yesterday when we were in town. So this is the kind of waste that I was talking about when I was talking about setting the chickens up in a permanent compost waste setup. So this is just stuff that has probably got outdated, or the produce manager has found that with the lettuce that there's something brown in there. There's some beans. So normally there would be about 15 chickens in here, but we have a lot of them. 10 of them are down working with the sheep. So we just have these guys holding down this area. There's a kind of a cucumber. You don't want to give your chickens anything that's too rotten. A lot of times they won't eat it. I mean, this tomato looks pretty good, but you can see even the ducks like tomatoes. So with the ducks, we don't give the ducks any designated feed. These guys just roam and they basically feed themselves. Here in about 2 to 3 months, these ducks should be producing eggs. Then we'll have to get them a designated little roosting spot.
They found some maroon worms.
Another thing that gets thrown away is this cheese. This is mozzarella cheese, probably $10 worth of cheese. It has a lot of protein in it, so it's good for the chickens. I won't give them the whole block at one time. You can see they really like that. Everybody likes cheese, even Luna. Luna, there you go. Ah, Luna, you gotta get it. Here, Luna, get it. Luna, come on. Get it, Luna, get it. Good boy. Don't let the ducks get it. Duck's got his cheese. See, I don't even have to go to the park to feed the ducks. I just go to my backyard. I don't pick up everything that's out there. I just pick up stuff that I think the animals will eat and stuff that I think is good for them. Like that yogurt mix. Here's another one right here. See, it has some granola in it. I won't give them the yogurt because I don't know how old it is, but I'll give them the granola. The granola doesn't go bad. There's a big old squash. A lot of times the chickens won't break the outside. Some chickens will. Some chickens know there's food in there. But once they see those seeds, they'll go after them. And we don't have to give it to them all in one day. Like yesterday I picked these up and I gave them about half of it. And then there's some things that I'll put in the refrigerator, like on those cheese I got like 3 blocks of that. So for the next about week and a half I'll bring a little bit out every day. I'm going to save a couple tomatoes for those other chickens.
Not what you said.
Calcium, protein.
That's perfect for egg laying.
As always, we thank you for watching our videos. We thank you for your support, your ongoing faithfulness. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. If you're not a subscriber to our channel, subscribe to the channel to get our latest updates. Have a nice day.